what does cheap really mean when it comes to construction? We know cheap, we know it kila mahali,
Yes.
but where does it reach in construction? Unasema ai, hii ni cheap.
Basically, because most of the people who engage you to do the work, definitely they have done a bit of research for themselves. They could even have gotten a quote from other people.
Yeah.
There is nobody who develops or does a system in construction without first of all talking to people who are in the know.
Yes.
Therefore, maybe even your competitors. So sometimes they collect the figures from different sources so that now when they start engaging, they know at least what range will this cost.
Yes.
And by the time now they come to engaging the fundis, for example,
Yes.
if you are being engaged to do electrical works, at that point, there is already a point at which they know it should range between 10,000 and 20,000.
Right.
So if you come with 5,000, the first thing will be to write you off. And many fundis do not realize that.
Yes.
The person you are talking to is not totally ignorant. It's just that they can't do that work because you are trained to do the ABCs.
Yes.
But at least when you tell them about the cost, they have done some basic groundwork. They could even have asked 2 or 3 other people. But then when you are the fundi, you want to get the job. And that's where now cheap comes in. You come in and try to underquote everyone. But now the problem, the crunch time comes when you are, if you ever get that job.
Yes.
Because there's also the very high chance you'll not get it. Because if you're asking for 5,000 when everybody else was between 10 and 20, the owner of the business will say there's definitely something wrong with the work you're doing.
Right.
Or you don't know exactly what you're quoting. So you can lose the job at that point.
Yes.
Secondly, if for example you are doing secondary work, you're not being hired by the developer, but maybe by a foreman, and then you accept to do the work. Once you start doing the work, it becomes too expensive because now you realize materials only without your labor
Right.
will be beyond that 5,000. So you will end up losing.
Yes.
Either leaving the site, which is very embarrassing because now it means in future you might not be able to get work from that person. Or you end up doing now shoddy work
Yes.
to cover for, because you don't have the money to cover it. So in this sector, it is very, yes, I know the competition is there.
Yes.
But it would be best if some people could just look at the job first. If I am to do this job, it requires this amount. And therefore, my quotation will be the best that I can do and still do a good job.
Right. Yes. I've just thought about something right now.
Yeah.
We are saying cheap is expensive. Yes. And of course, when you go to, an example, a hardware, you will find different types of materials. Ata kama ni tiles, there are those which are cheap than others.
Yes.
Then if cheap is expensive and you know when you use something cheap, it's going to cost you, then why do these cheap ones exist?
Exactly. I do remember sometimes going to other countries and finding out that sometimes this market for the cheap things is driven by the users.
Yes.
There's a country I know that what they do is they look for, let's say, let me give you a very easy example. They see a jacket like this and say they like that jacket.
Okay.
So they buy it from the original manufacturer or the distributor. Then they go to a factory and say, I want a jacket of this kind, but I want it to cost this amount. So there has developed a complete market for the third world, unfortunately, where now the factories go according to the demand. That jacket from the original manufacturer is 3,000 shillings.
Yes.
But you go with a sample of it and you tell them, the manufacturer now, the new one, I need it for 1,500.
Yes.
Because you want to sell it for 2,000. So the same jacket you might see, and I know you know that.
Yes.
This is 3,000, this is 2,000. Why? Because now they sourced for cheap material in order to fit with your budget.
Right.
So there is a secondary market for making cheaper things because the market is driving the demand. Yes. But the real people know that a tile of the floor tile should cost between 900 shillings per box to 1,200. But here comes somebody else who wants a cheaper version. It looks very glossy, but it costs 600. So definitely the manufacturer will make it worth 600.
Yes.
So unfortunately, the secondary market for cheaper is there.
Right.